action. Hello. Hi.
Um,
I'm Pearl, and that's DJ right there. And we are here for the second episode of P&D Perspective. I hope the name does not change. But yeah.
no,
Okay, so that's about it. It's a live discussion, and I'm ready to get into the discussion already. Over to you, sir.
yeah. The last time we were discussing about dating is unnecessary, and I was of the opinion that it was necessary, but you said it's necessary. No, I was of the opinion that it's necessary, but you said it's unnecessary. And even though I was not like totally against, your own side of it, because I made some point about for the Christians, one who has been trained, in the leading of the Spirit, and so, but we didn't really have a landing ground on both
You
sides,
did. You
and
came to my side because I didn't say that dating is wrong. I said it's unnecessary, which means life can go on
yes,
happily without dating. And I think that is where you came to because you had some circumstances.
yes, and so when I asked you, so what now happens when dating is unnecessary? Then you say, yeah, you just be friends, and they just go to the church straight up and they get married. And I remember someone posted in the comment section, "What happens to be your mom?" In the last part we had, and she asked a very important question. And I also remember I made comment on that what's the difference between friendship and dating?
Hmm.
So you can throw some light on that.
Okay, so there are many definitions to dating. For when you look at it in the dictionary, sometimes it just means the process of going out with people to know them in a romantic way. But when we say dating, we mean we mean I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend. That's what dating basically means, right? And then the difference between that and a friendship is in that, at least in the dating that we see in this world, in our context, it has to do with much more than just affection and fellowship. It has There's always this extra erotic things, like romantic things. So it's a friendship that has been romanticized basically. And so there's friends can hold hands, and that's great. But with these ones, they're gonna be holding hands, and then there's gonna be sparks going between them, and then they're gonna want to kiss each other all the time, and then gonna want to do more and more
So
depending
it's
on what
kissing
boundaries
is
they decided.
wait, so it's kissing is sin.
I didn't say let me let me set this straight. I never say anything is a sin. I
Okay,
never do that.
all right.
When I talk about, I'm talking about the better way of doing things, right? And so even when I spoke about dating, I don't think dating is the same. I don't think dating is bad. I say it's unnecessary, which basically means that people can go on, grow up, go through their puberty, go into adulthood, and marry and have a beautiful, happy ever after life without dating. I didn't say the date is wrong. Not at all. So you get it? So that's the difference, I think. It's just that those aspects, the romantic aspects, which are absent from a platonic friendship. And I think everybody knows that, right?
Hmm. Everybody doesn't know that.
Everybody starts dating when they are like, not everybody, but most people start dating at some point in their lives. So I believe most people know the difference.
Okay, so um, so can you just give me a recap? So what's the difference?
I just said it. I just said it that it's the difference is the romantic and the erotic part,
Aspect.
like that sexualizing of the sexual nature of a dating relationship is what makes a difference from a friendship, right? That's what I said. And I feel like that's a
So,
good. Mhm.
um, so what you're saying indirectly is that every dating has romantic aspects attached to it and erotic, you know.
Seriously, I I cannot say, I'm not gonna say so. And the people who are in those kinds of relationships that separate, that make sure that they remove the sexual aspects. I've watched a lot of them on YouTube, for example. They talk about courtship. They make sure they don't use the word dating because they want to separate themselves from the world. And I get it. Because once you start using dating, what comes to mind is a certain thing. So those ones separate themselves and they use courtship. And I've heard a lot of them talk about their marriages, how before they married, they never ever, like, they did not have like exclusive, like those kinds of things, like extreme
What
smooshing
marriage?
and kissing and all the sexual stuff. So yes, they got into some kind of a relationship before they got married, and it was not super sexual. They did not call it dating though. So not every of such relationship is sexual. Also, there's some friendships that are sexual. There's what people call friends with benefits. They are not dating, they just move around with their friends. So there's sexual stuff in everything that we can possibly, in all kinds of relationship, and I get it. Anything can be sexualized. But when we officialize it, then we call it a dating relationship, which I think can be excluded, um, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I say it can be excluded and life will still go on beautifully.
Uh, well, as you were talking, quite some things was coming to my mind from what you said about uh, courtship and dating, and I was just thinking to myself, is there any difference between between courtship and dating? And so I just want to bring out some little definitions. Maybe that can help. All right. So courtship is a period during which a couple develop a romantic relationship before getting married. And this is a dictionary, Oxford Dictionary definition. All right. Um, it also says a behavior designed to persuade someone to marry or develop a romantic relationship with one. So also, there's one more here. It talks about a behavior of male birds and other animals aimed at attracting a mate. So, um, the word courtship and dating are, um,
That's the thing, right? You know, if we look at the meaning from the dictionary, it's
yes,
basically the same thing, but but look around you, the people who use the word courtship are usually people that are, I mean, have you ever seen a crazy person saying, I mean, courtship? Courtship, you hear it a lot among Christians, and I think they, like I said, they are
yeah,
using that word because they're trying to separate themselves from the
yeah,
word, because as much as the word says dating in itself, if dating is getting to know somebody romantically and not having sex before marriage, of course. But because when you say dating, the world has it in a certain way, which I believe is why when you hear the courtship is mostly amongst Christian or more elevated, that's morally elevated society. Like I think I've heard it like in some of those um in maybe like some old movies when the king was betrothed to somebody, then they called it a courtship, but you don't hear it on the streets. And I feel like it's because that has some some chasteness to it, some piety, some reverence, unlike dating where my 13-year-old cousin can be dating, my 18-year-old can be dating, my 25-year-old can be dating, I can be dating, we all have boyfriends. And I feel like that's why courtship courtship is, the meaning is the same. I think that it's the same, but it has become different because of the people who are involved in each of these ones. Courtship seems to suggest something more serious and something more like, okay, we are getting married on the 18th of November 2025. Dating happens with people that don't even want to get married. I have cousins who don't want to plan to get married and they're dating.
Interesting. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, so I was just thinking, so for people who are in courtship, based on what you said, so what happens there?
For people who are in courtship, it's
Like
very
what will be their what's it like?
okay. If I were in a courtship, this is what I would be doing, and this is my advice to myself right now. Seriously.
Okay.
If I were in a courtship, what I'll be doing is we are we're getting to know each other's worlds, like your family, my family. We're already even going through some kind of or planning to go through whatever premarital counseling that we have to go through before we get married. We are answering questions. We are even like looking into. We are asking questions about things legally, financially. We're discussing like, okay, financially, where do you where, how, what's your plan? How are you going forward? How do you raise a family? How do you, we're having intelligent conversations. It's true that we're having fun. We are having a good meal. We're eating. We're walking in the park. We're holding hands, and we are having fun. But it's very. I feel like in courtship, because it's like you're on a journey to somewhere. We are working towards that. Like, what can I do right now to prepare myself to move in and live with this person, right? So we are paying attention to things like that. That's what I think will be done in a courtship. So intelligent conversations, counseling, planning both wedding and the life after marriage. Um, discovering others and discovering each other's worlds, family, friends. Yeah, and having fun, hanging out, being friends.
Hmm, nice.
This
Okay.
is the advice to myself. Okay.
Okay. Counselor. Yeah, that was nice.
Okay.
That was nice. So, well, quite some things were going through my mind as we're talking, and uh, you know, a lot of God's children needs to come into certain awareness, and which would help in shaping their lives and their relationship with beyond people they're in courtship with and with
Mhm,
others. And how is having a is it's in having a spiritual understanding of the Word of God,
mhm,
and which is the bedrock of any relationship, and also understanding what love is about. For people who understand what love is about, it's easy for them to journey in these routes you mentioned, and they're also being led, by the Spirit of God. So, and one of the first thing that came to my mind is, what is love? What is love? A lot of people say, "Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you," and the same people, maybe they have a misunderstanding. I hate you, I hate you, and and you see people who truly say they love themselves, and suddenly they became, you know, enemies.
mhm.
They can't even stand themselves. And these were people who once professed, "Oh, I love you. I'll never leave you." And so, you know, um, but a lot of people don't really know what love is. And the Word of God shows us what love is. And Bible just defined it, gave us a very simple definition. And love is a person. And Bible said God is love. So God Himself is the definition of love. So for someone to truly say, "Oh, I love this lady," he must love this God we're talking about. So, and knowing this God, because He is the true definition of love. So, yeah, yeah. So, our time is almost up. So, yeah,
I like
so
when
the,
you ended talking about. I like
so,
how you were diving into that, and I feel like it's a great time. It's a great way to wrap this up and get ready for the next, and we can just continue to flow in that direction of what really is love. And
yeah,
it looks like I feel like it's a big conversation. I already had some questions, which of course I cannot ask now because it's time to go. But we're gonna have a longer discussion next time.
all right. Okay, it's nice, talking with you again. And
Thank you
I
so
see you
much.
in the next.
Thank you
We'll
so
talk
much.
more in the next show.
Absolutely, yes. Next
Yeah.
episode of our chat. And if you did not catch up with, if you felt like you don't know what we're talking about, then you need to watch the video that's going to be linked right here somewhere. I think it's going to be, well, it's going to be on the top, one left to right. Thank you so much for joining today. And
Yeah.
I'll
And
see
kindly
you.
also drop your comments. Let's know
Oh, yeah, of course.
what you
Let's
think
go.
about some of the things we've discussed. And yeah, so I think the next discussion, as you said, yeah, we'll be talking about what love is. And
Awesome. Until next time, have a
yeah,
beautiful day, guys.
yeah.
God bless you. I need to stop it. Oh.